flow video coming at you. I'm your host, AC. I'm going to continue a little bit on our next juggling lesson. In the other videos, we've learned the basics of 3-ball juggling and how to warm up for it. I've actually had some people sending me in some videos on how they've been doing. Thanks, Dave. Pretty cool. Keep it up, buddy. And we worked on our basic 3-ball juggling. Yes, keeping our hands nice and low, breathing properly. We've also worked on our ping pongs or our rainbows and all our cool combos you can end up doing with those. Once you get the one trick, you can start adding the different variations. And today I want to talk about one-hand juggling and then how we can get into columns and where you can go from there. All right, so for this one, we're actually going to start with only 2 balls again and one hand. Let me use 2 different colors going here. So we're going to try now, instead of doing the juggling, there's 2 ways to do this. We can start with circles. So I'm putting the ball on the outside going around. That's one way to one-hand juggle. And then, of course, we're always going to go back to both hands. And as I've mentioned maybe before, I usually like to start with my weaker hand. That way when I go to my stronger hand, which for me is my right, it's actually a little easier. So I start with the harder one, which is my left hand, and then I switch over to my right. However, there's going to be 2 kind of things you can do with 2-ball juggling in one hand. And that's, like I said, the circle motions here. To the other side. I'm always trying to breathe, trying to keep my hand low. All right? So those are the sort of circular motions we saw. And what's kind of cool is just to show you, while I'm juggling 3 balls, I would hold 1 ball in the other hand, and I can kind of, just sort of add that into my 3-ball juggling routine every once in a while. Little turn, little turn. All right? So that's one thing we can do with the one hand. Again, we would practice a lot with this. Some people find this kind of easy. Some people find it harder. I've actually found it hard when I started it. I have it pretty good now. The other thing we can do is, instead of doing the sort of rotations where as you can see, I'm sort of always throwing the ball back over to my hand. Those are circles. But what we also want to try to do is something called columns, where they'll be going up and down versus kind of going around and around. So instead of this motion happening, we're going to go up, and then I'm going to move my hand up, up, up. So the balls will be going like this. So a little example, up, up, up. So my hand is now moving on the bottom. Hopefully you can see that in the video. All right, so they're columns. One's going straight up, and it's my hand that's moving back and forth. Other side too. I'm much better with this. Actually, I'm pretty good with my left hand on this. Becoming pretty ambidextrous with all this juggling stuff, that's for sure. What's neat about these moves is, while we're juggling the 3 balls, we're always holding 1 ball in the other hand. So it's not as difficult as you think, because that 1 ball is going to be just holding there, while the other hand is kind of doing the work. Don't forget, I'm over my bed, so if I drop something, I don't have to bend too far to pick it up. Dave, who was using tennis balls, had told me he was getting frustrated because the balls were bouncing everywhere. Dave, go over your bed, buddy. If you drop it, they won't bounce as much, I promise. All right, so with our columns type thing, we can do the one-handed column. All right, then we want to do the left-handed column. Now, you don't have to practice with the 3 balls to start. You can practice with just the 2 balls or the scarves or the socks, whatever you have at home. I still love using these color ones. It reminds me of lovely Brighton, and they look pretty cool on camera. So we can do our juggling. Once we get our cascade going, we can hold on to 1 ball. We can try our circles. We can try our circles on the other side. We can keep our juggling. Then we can try our columns. Now again, the balls aren't going over each other now. They're going up and down. And what's cool about that is, after a while, we can start doing the sort of crossover columns. See where I'm sort of just going right over to the other side. There we go. Up and down. See, I'm using my breathing to get into it. So those are ways we can do one-handed columns to get prepped for our 2-handed columns. Okay? So these are just our sort of basics. Here's our circles. We can do our circles, our sort of basics. We can have fun with that. Circle, 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 circle. Then I can do the sort of crawl over columns, or just these columns. right? Whatever we want. So the idea, again, is to practice with 2 balls doing circles. Doing circles. Then when we get those circles, we're going to go column style, column style. Other side, column style, baby, let's go. Then we're going to try to incorporate it into our juggling. Now, don't forget, it's not as intimidating as you think, because one hand is just going to hold the ball for now while we're doing our trick. So we still don't really have to worry about what that other hand is doing. All right, there's our columns. And then in our next installment, we'll work on 2-hand columns and things we can kind of do with the ball while we're doing these tricks. That'll be in our next installment. Stay safe, everybody. Stay inside if you can. And if you can't, stay inside anyway. And if you do need to go out, stay 6 feet away from people. Keep your hands washed. Stay safe. Stay compassionate. Stay home. Work on some juggling and some skills. Let me know if you have any questions. Send me your videos of what you're doing. I can even watch you, and I can maybe guide you if your hands are a bit too high or a bit too low, or if I see something a bit wrong. Obviously easier for me to do a visual, and easy for you guys. I suggest doing a video of yourself, and you can see, you'll know right away if your hands are too high. You'll know if you're holding your breath because your shoulders will be up, and you know if you're stiff because you want to be able to move around when you're juggling too. All right? Let me know. You can send them at FlowWithAC either on Instagram, on Facebook, and my Gmail account, which is flowwithac3@gmail. So if you want to send any stuff to me, by all means, go ahead. I'm stuck at home too, guys, so I get it. Let me know you're out there. I love seeing these juggling videos. All the best, guys.